There are so many really great planes for a new-ish pilot. Planes that fly off of rough terrain, planes that fly super slow and super stable, as well as planes that can handle some wind, crosswinds, and still slow down, have that stability, and you could grease the landings. This Otter is one of them. Let's talk about it. Welcome to the shop. Got the Avios Twin Otter, 1.6 meter wingspan. This is they call it a STOL type plane. And from where I flew it and the quick, short takeoff and landing kind of thing, it clicks those boxes. Fantastic, fun plane. Love Avios planes, have had many, love them all. Not going to get into too much because I want you to watch the video on the whole thing, right? So I'm going to go through parts, assembly, the setup, show all my setup on it. I'm going to go through just normal flying, aerobatic flying, landing this plane in all conditions, in all terrain. I really put the plane through the paces, and you're going to see all of that. In the end, we're going to come back into the shop, and I'm going to tell you what I think and who's this plane for. So, if you have any questions, leave a comment. There'll be links in the description below for the plane, the batteries, tools, things I use in my shop. Stick around. Let's take a quick look at all the parts. First off, let's check out the wing. So we've got metal gear servos, ball links, got some good lights, quick connect, which is really handy for installing at the field. And for the most part, we've got all foam hinges. Let's take a look at the center section, which gets bolted onto the fuse. 4 bolts there. Pretty simple. The flaps are slotted flaps, which offer a lot of efficiency. And you'll see when I fly, I can keep that nose up and still maintain stable flight. Metal gear servos. The hinges are actually plastic. They look pretty durable. It's all ball link construction as well, as far as connections. Then we have the big bundle of wires. So you've got one ESC cable, and then you have your flaps and lights and all that other stuff that are going to get plugged into the receiver. Let's take a look at the elevator. Ball link, and it's mechanical hinge along with foam. Pretty good quality. Got some spaces there that you need to put in some foam or some tape to cover that up, depending on what you want it to look like. Rudder, again, it's mechanical hinge. Plenty of throw. Got a light on top. You'll see during assembly you got to connect the light. You've got your carbon fiber spars for the wings, and we've got a beefy landing gear. It requires 8 screws to attach that sucker. But it's solid. Not a problem. It's pretty easy to install. And you have 2 propellers, and they are counter-rotating, and that's important during install. 2 different noses. Both have magnets in it. Click a magnet on. You want the stubby or you want the long one? Whichever you prefer. There's different styles depending how scale you want to get with this thing. The fuselage is quite spacious. There's a lot of room there. You've got, obviously, this comes with floats. So you have an option to install the floats. It's all plastic with brass screw ends. Tail section, same kind of thing. Gonna screw on your elevator. I'll show all of that, but again, it's good construction. Paint looks good. Everything looks pretty solid. Inside, again, a lot of room. Now, the back strap is really hard to get to, by the way, but with 2200s, I never even use the back strap. I'll show you that, all of that here in a minute. And last but not least, big pile of stuff. A lot of it is for the floats, but there's also the screws and pieces and parts that you're going to need for assembly. Speaking of floats, they're pretty good. I mean, your standard just plain old white float, these ain't it. I sure do like it when the plane's big bag of parts has individual bags for specific screws. Assembly starts with attaching that mid-wing section. Feed all the cables through, and then install the 4 screws. There are 2 wing struts that need to be installed. Pretty simple. Like everything, it all screws together. Main landing gear is pretty simple. Slides into place, and then you fasten it or lock it down with 8 machine screws. Goes together very quickly. The wheels slide onto the axle, but first you need to loosen up that wheel collar and slide that over So the wheel, when you slide it in, has enough room on the outside that an E-clip can be attached to. E-clips are awful fun and can fly around the room. That's why they give you quite a few of them, so it shouldn't be a problem for you. Main landing gear is pretty much the same way, pretty simple. Slides into place and then use a screw coming from the top to lock it all in place. Installing the horizontal stabilizer, very simple. Plop it down, put in a bunch of screws, and it's pretty much done. Next, we're gonna install the rudder. We're gonna insert a carbon fiber spar inside the vertical stabilizer, push that all the way up. Now that slides into the elevator. But first, we need to attach some of the wires. There's a plug there for that light that's on top. That gets tucked down. As you slide everything in, you're still going to continue to kind of tuck those wires in and making sure the rudder is lined up with the little pin, the way it aligns in. It's pretty simple though. Once all that's tucked in, you'll have a couple screws, one right there in the front, and these are self-tapping screws. So look in the instruction manual, it'll tell you what screws go where, but there's a few screws and then we're going to flip it upside down and there's some more screws that need to be installed. I'm using a 6-channel Spectrum receiver, get that all powered up, get all the servos neutralized, and then start attaching all the control rods. They're pretty quick connect kind of control rods, so it goes pretty fast. Here's my signature battery bay cleanup with shelf liner and routing the antennas. Now you can glue on the wing fences, and you have an option for your horizontal stabilizer. Either add the tape, like this, or you can add the foam little stabilizer things like that. Control surfaces, I pretty much set up at 100% all the way around, but I think it's important for you to take a look at the manufacturer's recommendation and put them where you want to. I definitely can tell that I would want maybe a little bit more throw on the elevator and the rudder. I'm going to show all my settings right here. Field assembly is a snap, but a couple things to note. The carbon fiber spar, I transport it with it inserted into the wing all the way. I take that out and insert it into the wing centerpiece and then slide the wing on. And then attach the 4 screws and that's it. You're pretty much done. I flew it with a 3300 and a 2200. Absolutely like the 2200 better. And I got 5+ minutes of flight time, no problem with that 2200. Let me show off how well this plane flies. One day it was pretty snowy, cold, and windy, and another day it was much more mild. And I'm going to show both examples because I think it's important for you to see. What I'm going to attempt to show several times throughout, some of this flight video is this plane is very versatile. It is I think an outstanding, stable, slow flying plane that's not going to bite you. But it also has some really fun aerobatic capabilities. I do not have differential thrust set up. However, if you want to do that, check out Model Aviator's review on this. He gives a whole mixing and everything for differential thrust, which allows it to do amazing aerobatics. I'm going to show from a perspective of more of a beginner. You just got your trainer out of the way, meaning you can fly it very competently. You can land it where you want and land smooth every time. Where now you're looking for that next plane that's a lot cooler than your trainer, and it flies equally well. But there's some better looks about it. There's some neater features with it, and this one I think clicks that box. Notice how I can go from a speeding dive, down to very, very slow flight. Those slotted flaps enable this plane to do what you're seeing there. Come in with that nose way high. Heck, I'm doing a wheelie for crying out loud. And then, of course, the other aspect of it is the aerobatic performance. Plenty of speed. No, it's not a speed demon, but ample power to do whatever you want. Heck, sure, John at Two Brothers is hovering the doggone thing. It's also one of those planes I enjoy just jamming on that rudder to turn it around, like right there. And then bomb down the runway, super slow, super stable. Again, I say that a lot with this plane, but it just lends itself to getting to that next level with the plane. The other thing I really like about it is the fact that you can fly off of rough surfaces. It'll take off and land, no problem, off of our rough grass here. Quick commercial break for SteffenRC. If you're not familiar with my channel, I really focus on helping new pilots get the most out of the hobby. Whether it's setting up your radio, or setting up a plane, or learning how to land, or in different techniques. If you find this useful, please subscribe to the channel so you'll see all my latest videos. Thanks a lot. Now this flight, very different. It was windy and snowing, as you can see, but wanted to get the plane up and play around with it. And what I want to do is focus on really bad conditions and how well this plane lands and how stable it is, even with some pretty heavy winds, crosswinds and such. The Otter is at home in the snow. It's awfully cold here today at Otter Park, and she leaps into the air. Keep her in close. It is snowing. Move the side of her easy. Now I do have AS3X on the plane, but I also have it switched off and trying to show just the stability. I'll switch it on and off a couple times, I think, but for the most part I found that this plane doesn't need gyro, but it smooths it out when you have it. And of course it can handle all the basic aerobatic coolness and things you might want to do with it.
Landing flaps.
Okay, let's show off some of those landings. I'm going to be doing a couple different approaches from different runways, just to give you the the examples of how this plane lands in some rougher, bumpier weather.
Flaps.
The benefit of having multiple runways. Oh, we got a lot of wind. Cutting back on throttle, getting my short approach.
So, coming in, crosswind, slowing down, a lot of flap, but yet, as you've noticed, the plane just settles in nice. Wing lifted up a little bit in the crosswind, but it's still a very stable plane.
Backing off throttle, bring her in.
Time remaining 2 minutes.
Easy plane to fly. And this weather is windy, cold, not great. And this plane is such a nice, slow, gentle flyer.
When landing in the wind with a plane like this that can get floaty, there are times where I'm trying to get her down, but you don't want to rush it. You don't want it to plop down. So you kind of, well, it doesn't land and you got to go around.
Easy to land on the mains with this plane. The nose climb gets up nice and easy, performs well, doesn't stall on you, doesn't do any of that stuff. It's got a little half flap on here. Gonna go full flap. Boy, that wind right there really got crazy.
Like all my landings, it's more of a shallow approach, modulating the throttle, getting that nose up to land on the mains, and this plane does it exceptionally well.
Flaps up.
A little approach here with this runway. Crosswind.
All right, that wraps up some of the flying. Let's go back into the shop and I'm going to summarize and kind of go over the pros and cons. If you're interested in this plane, there's a few things you might want to know about it. Welcome back. So you saw how well this plane flew. I just love the way this plane flies. I enjoy flying it both from an aerobatic perspective and a STOL perspective, but let's first just summarize a couple things. Obviously, the fit and finish, the looks of this plane, it's an Avios. They put that extra detail into a lot of things. The lights, the way the flaps work, just the performance of the plane, the way it went together. The assembly was nothing. Setup, obviously very easy. There wasn't any gotchas at all with this plane. It's a great plane and should offer a pilot that knows what they're doing a long, long life of fun. The flight performance, as I mentioned, it is just super stable at all speeds. I mean, I was doing some stupid stuff, you know, almost doing high alpha, and just it's not stalling. And there's not many planes that allow you to do that. And therefore, you know, this is that plane that if you have really mastered that trainer, this would be a great second plane. But be cautious with that, right? Because you're going to spend a couple bucks, and sometimes getting the parts of Avios planes, sometimes it's hard to get the parts. So if you break planes a lot, maybe hold off until you're not breaking planes and then get this. Just my opinion on it. Fantastic plane. I really enjoy it. I'm glad I have it in the hangar. If you're interested in this, there's a link in the description below. If you have a question, leave a comment. And of course, if you like these videos, hit the like button. Helps out the channel quite a bit. Appreciate it. Have a great day.